You were listening to What's Next? Conversations with Boomers, and I'm Barb Desmarais, your host. So today we have our super aging friends back, Larry Wolf and David Cravit. We are going to be talking about exercise. And Larry and David always come with so much research they've done and stats. And so they are, I'm certainly the experts if you really want to know, what does the research say? What do the experts say? Well, they will tell us. So welcome back, David.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. It's great to be here, Barb. Hello.
Yes, thanks for having us, Barbara.
So good to see you both, Larry and David. Yeah, and we haven't seen Larry for a while, so great to have you back. Okay, let's start walking. That was the first thing that came to mind. I am a walker. I walk pretty much every day unless it's absolutely pouring with rain. We're all encouraged to walk all the time. Is walking enough, Larry?
It's not really. I mean, walking is wonderful. It's very important. It's got many health benefits, but there's other things that are very, very important to do. What walking is definitely not enough. I've coined an acronym that's hopefully easy for people to remember, and I call it FABS.
FABS.
Right, FABS. And the first thing that's absolutely critical as you age is flexibility. You've got to have a good stretching regime. A normal part of aging, unfortunately, as your body gets stiffer, it gets less flexible. I mean, it's just like an old vehicle. The older it gets, the more maintenance it requires. So a good routine of stretching is very important. Next, very important is aerobics. You've got to get your heart moving. You've got to increase your heartbeat. Walking, power walking, if you're able to do it, is just terrific. So walking is a wonderful aerobic exercise. Next, the B, breathing and balance. As you get older, your balance is more and more challenged. Again, just an aspect of the aging brain, but simple to deal with. There's many very useful balance exercises you can do. For instance, I practice Tai Chi, and I work with the Tai Chi master every week, which has helped my balance immensely. And the other B, very simple, breathing. Conscious breathing, really a key element of most meditations in most cultures, but just breathing itself, consciously breathing, inhaling and exhaling can make a huge difference. In fact, I just read today a study by Professor Bates at Rutgers that really validates a lot of this. I mean, just simply practice conscious breathing. And lastly, and very, very important, is strength training. It's not more important than walking, but it's equally important. And the reason being that as you age, your muscles, if you don't exercise them, if you don't use them, train them, they're going to weaken. And again, the analogy with a motor vehicle, if you don't regularly maintain the car and oil and lubricate, it's going to rust. So you've got to keep your muscles trained, keep building your muscles. But again, you don't need a fancy gym. You don't need a lot of elaborate routines. Probably a simple set of weights would be useful, but just simple basic weight training exercises. And let me end with the caveat, before you do any kind of exercising program, you should probably talk to your doctor and healthcare provider and get his or her blessing.
Yeah, so we definitely need more than just walking. When you talk about breathing, Larry, I was thinking breathing is so important, and especially in learning how to breathe from your diaphragm and inhale and with slow exhales. I mean, it's really, really helpful.
Conscious breathing.
Conscious breathing, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, David, back to walking. Do we need to be walking 10,000 steps every day?
Well, this is interesting. What Larry said about the FABS formula is true, but what I always look for is keep it simple. I look for keeping it simple, but I also want to caution that there is so much information out there that there's a temptation to look for a highly idealized formula that I need this plus this. Otherwise, it's not even worth starting. And walking is a good example of that. Do I need 50,000 steps? Well, everything on our website comes from a study. We're not dreaming this stuff up. If your goal is to be ripped, then you got to be in the gym and you got to have a professional trainer and you got to pay attention to every part of your body. If your goal is to live longer, you would be astounded at how little it takes as long as you do it. So there was a big fetish about I need 10,000 steps. And another study said, no, 5,000 steps. We finally published a study, and it's on our website, superagingnews.com, that said if you walk up 50 stairs, that's the equivalent of 10,000 steps if you do that every day.
Really?
Yep. Just go up 50 stairs. From
Oh,
an aerobic point of view and from a muscle strength point. So the question is, what are you after? There's no reason you shouldn't walk forever. If you can, take a good long walk around them, perfectly fine. But to be a slave to the steps, and another study we reported on, this is interesting. They compared two groups. One was counting steps and one was counting minutes. I don't know how many steps I'm doing, but I got to walk for 30 minutes a day or 20 minutes a day or 10 minutes a day. And they found basically no difference. There's no
really?
difference between counting minutes, counting steps, whatever gets you doing it. The point is whatever gets you doing it. So it's astonishing how little it takes if your goal, and I underline this, is health and longevity. If you want, a perfect body, that's a different story. But it's astonishing on all these things, whether it's strength training, to Larry's point, or walking, or aerobics, or it's just amazing. My favorite one, and I'll just end on this note, was they did a study that found that 3 minutes of vigorous activity, 3 minutes just before bedtime, is the best. Gives you the maximum impact on longevity. And they measured it with people,
Really?
how many more years. Yeah, what they do is they measure the research population and they follow them up for 6 or 7 years. What was their cardio? What was their, what were the landmarks or the benchmarks of longevity? And they found that it's just astonishing. And we finally concluded that with exercise snacks, a 10-minute snack for healthy aging every single day covers all of the things that Larry talked about. You can put it into 10 minutes as long as you do it every day. It's better than not doing it at all. So the big message to your audience is don't wait for perfection. Don't wait for some, grid or schedule printed on the wall. It's got to be 2 minutes of this. It can't be a minute 30. It's got to be 2 minutes. Got to be 15 sit-ups. Can't be 14. That search for perfection stops a lot of people in their tracks. And the better approach is to build it into your day so that it comes naturally. You're doing more walking naturally. You're doing more, you're stopping what you're doing. You're not sitting down. If you cut your sitting time by 30 minutes a day, keep sitting, but just sit for 30 minutes less. Dramatic improvement in cardio, in hypertension. It was amazing. And these are all studies that show that a little bit means a lot.
Well, that's
Which is good
encouraging
news.
because I think some people, especially if you've never exercised consistently, a lot of it is daunting. Oh, I better get to the gym. Oh my God, I'm going to start doing 10,000 steps. When anything feels overwhelming or
Yes,
daunting,
I'll do it.
you don't want to do it. You procrastinate, or you see people that I'm going to really get into this, and they do a really hardcore workout for, a month or two, and then they stop altogether. So knowing the benefits of doing even just a little bit every single day, you're really better off.
There was a famous study where they took
Absolutely.
85-year-old women who had not exercised, and they gave them training, and this completely validates Larry's point. But what they did was they did it in the pool. They were standing in a swimming pool, and they were lifting cans of frozen peas. I mean, they didn't even have proper weights. And relative to their previous condition, they gained more than 20% of their lost muscles back after a month.
Wow.
So it
Wow.
can be done, it can be done.
Yeah. And you don't have to be, lifting 20 pounds or.
We wrote about that this last week. There was a study that was said, the title of the article was "How Low Can You Go?" How do you know? Because people overdo it. I got to lift a really heavy weight. No, how about a lighter weight? How low can you go? And it found that you could drop it quite a bit more than expected. And the acid test is that you should feel vaguely uncomfortable, not gasping for air, not muscles bursting, not fainting onto the gut, but vaguely, okay, that was hard after 25 lifts. And if you can do 25 lifts, and if it's real easy, like I'm not lifting any weight now, so I can put my hands up and down 25 times and not even know. So if it's too easy, increase the weight. If it's too hard, decrease the weight, get to where it's 25 seems like enough. And that tells you the ideal weight.
Vaguely uncomfortable. Okay.
Yeah. Not gasping for air, but just, and then of course you're going to get stronger. So a month from now, vaguely uncomfortable is going to be a little bit higher weight. You are going to try to get more, but it's better to underdo it, but do it.
Yeah.
Than overdo it and stop doing it. There's nothing wrong with stretching. So when I say vaguely uncomfortable, if you can take on more discomfort, great. I'm just trying to get people to not obsess about, oh, I'm only lifting 15 pounds and it should be 20 pounds. I mean, just do it.
Yeah, no,
Just do it.
Right. No, to amplify what David says, that if you're uncomfortable, that means you're building muscle, you're building strength. If you're not a little uncomfortable, you're not really building muscle. So it's a good idea to push yourself to lift as much as you can, but not too much, because too much really creates sprains and other issues. So the ideal, as David says, is somewhat uncomfortable, but not terrible.
With 25 lifts, that's the key. So I should be able to lift this 25 times and feel a little bit stressed out a little. I'm aware that I did something here, but it's not so hard that I'm really feeling a lot of pain after 8 times, and it's just not enjoyable, because if you hate doing it, it's another reason you're not going to do it.
Yeah,
exactly.
And there's no magic number. I mean, the number could be 25, it could be 10, it could be 8. You just reach a point where you're a little uncomfortable, and then you discontinue your reps. Like when I do 15-pound bicep curls, I'm done after doing a dozen. I mean, any more
I'm sure.
too much. Yeah.
I've kind of trashed the whole 10,000 steps things with walking, but I make sure I walk, but I walk really fast.
Yeah.
And, that's one of the things I know that's kind of one of the markers, how well you're doing physically.
Yes.
Is if you could walk fast. So I think even if I walk 20, 30 minutes, but I'm really walking fast.
They also like interval walking. So if you have a standard route, I'm just making this up, you're going to walk to the end of the street, up 2 blocks, back 2 blocks, back, you're going to do a big circuit. So you walk to the end of the street at a reasonable pace, you're not winded. You say, okay, for the next block, I'm going to double my speed. And I'm going to do a short burst of really almost running, like really fast walking. Then I'm going to do a recovery. I'm going to walk normally for the next block. So that's another way of doing it. It doesn't need to be all uniform. An interval step up is also very effective.
Yeah. And again, you don't have to put aside 4 hours to do this.
No. And even if you're just sitting, at your computer or something, get up and sit down about a half a dozen times. I mean, it takes you 30 seconds, but it's good core exercise. And when you get stronger and more confident, you can do it holding weights. So much simple stuff you could just do. If you're just doing something for a minute or two, the only important point is to do it, and the more often you do it, the better. Particularly if you're sitting, you want to break your sitting routine as frequently as you can remember.
Yeah, this is really good to know. It's encouraging because, as I say, there's a lot of people that just don't start because they've got this idea that they've got to be doing so much more than is really necessary.
Yeah.
But
And
it's
for boomers, by the way, another thing that happens, and this is we're all in the same age group here, is that they remember, it's astonishing how many people remember a failed gym program in their 30s and 40s. We all went to the gym, we signed up, we had a trainer, it was the thing to do. And then, gradually, "Oh, I don't want to do all that again." Or they go back to it and they think that's what they've got to do again. So they go overboard, they sign up for too much, they commit for too much, they got too big a program, too complicated a program. They can't keep it straight, they can't maintain it. So they fall off the wagon again. So it's better to incorporate it. And Larry made a really good point. It's better to incorporate it into your day so that it happens almost naturally, almost unobtrusively. So I'm sitting down right now in my chair here talking to you. I can be doing, and I'm doing them right now, you can't see it. I can be doing toe and heel races with my feet on the floor right now, sitting here.
It's a good idea.
I'm doing them right now.
Yeah.
I can be doing now. If I'd said if that constituted my entire program, no, of course not. But you can incorporate motion and activity and flexibility into everywhere you are throughout the day. When they did the famous study in Okinawa, from the blue zones, I don't mind paying tribute to the blue zones. This is the place where an astonishingly high percentage of people live to 100.
Centurions.
Not a gym in sight. They just walk a lot because to get from A to B, to get from B to C, to visit the neighbor, to go to the market, it's built into their day. It's unobtrusive.
Yeah, they walk everywhere. Yeah.
They walk everywhere and they lift and they move, and everything in their kitchen is healthy food. So it's built right in. It's not like a special thing. I know my greens. I've got to remember my greens. I mean, they've got it built into their way of life. It's almost unobtrusive.
Yeah.
And that would be the key to exercise too. Can you gradually create a daily habit of exercise no matter what you're doing? You're standing at the kitchen, mid-counter, preparing a meal, do 18 toe and heel races.
Yeah.
Great point.
Really easy. You don't have to schedule it. It's just, you
don't have to schedule it. Just make it part of your thing.
Where I live right now, I just moved here a couple of years ago, and it's a walking neighborhood, which I've never lived in before. And I just love it because virtually everywhere I have to go, I can walk to. And
beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
I do my 20-minute, 30-minute walk, but then if I have to run to the grocery store, okay, well, here's another, whatever, 500 steps. Here's another.
But what you're doing is, what you've done is you've reversed the paradigm. You said, I'm walking everywhere and that's my exercise, rather than saying, oh gosh, I got to do my exercise now, I guess I'll walk. So it's a psychological flip too. I'm walking anyway.
Yeah.
I'm walking everywhere, and I'm a little bit more aware of what that is. So maybe I'll make a brisk pace for this particular city block, or my morning want to go really fast, my afternoon one. But there's things you can play with. But what you're doing is you're walking. It's part of your daily routine.
Yes.
So
yes.
You're not
well, I do have a
route
that I go on for just a walk.
Yes.
But
yes. Okay.
But I've add to that when I have to, go here or go there. There's sometimes 3 days and I don't get in my car.
It's unobtrusive. It's part of what you do. That's the number one secret of all of this. You don't need the big, elaborate, color-coded schedule. You just need some simple principles that you follow.
That try to make exercise fun, like sports are great to the extent you can comfortably do them, whether it's golf, pickleball, or just having a great walk with friends. The more fun exercise is, the easier it is to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, I envy people who are into sports because it's an easy and fun way to get exercise. I'm so unsporty that
How about dancing?
Nobody would ever want me on their pickleball team.
How about dancing? Are you a dancer? Dancing.
I like dancing. Yeah. Well, I sometimes dance in my own living room just by myself.
Yeah. No, dancing is great.
And my little grandson that is 4, that I babysit all the time, he likes to dance, so we dance together. But sports, not my thing.
Okay.
Do either of you do sports? Do you do pickleball or golf or anything?
I do golf intermittently, and I'm studying Tai Chi swordsmanship, but unfortunately I have some eye issues, so I'm off the ski hill and I'm off the tennis court, but the golf course is easy, so golf, Tai Chi, plus I love to swim, and
Yeah, I
swimming
love
is
swimming
a
too.
terrific exercise if there's a pool handy. And even if you don't like swimming, just walking around the pool is great exercise.
Walking in the pool.
Yeah, walking
I
in.
do
Yeah.
laps in our pool. We have a pool in our house, and it's chest high all the way, and I can swim a lap, but I mean it's not a long lap to swim, but just walking up and down. I sometimes do 100 laps just walking
Oh, good for you, because there's the resistance of
back
the
and forth.
water.
There's a resistance in the water, and if you do a backstroke while you're walking forward, you can create more resistance. So as I'm stepping forward, I'm taking my hands, up to my shoulders and pushing the water to the front of me, which creates a little bit of resistance against the walking. So it works the shoulders and it works the walking. And anybody can
Yeah.
do that.
And just to get, to repeat, it's finding things that you enjoy. We know we need to move. So find things that motivate you. If it's something you hate doing, you know you're not going to do it. Take away I know I should be doing A, B, or C, although I hate it, but no, figure out what you really like to do.
Yeah. That's why most of what we write about when it comes to exercise does not require a gym, doesn't even require a change of clothes necessarily. Obviously swimming is different, but it doesn't require a big complex. It's exercise time. And it's great if you can. We're not against you going to the gym 3 times a week and paying a personal trainer. It's even better. But it's not necessary for the purposes of wellness and longevity, which is what our focus is. How are you going to live longer and live healthier? You can do it and not necessarily be ripped, in your physique. So that's what we focus on. And that's where, of course, the exercise snacks come in, which is a nice concept.
Grandkids, particularly when they're toddlers, are great exercise because
Oh, gosh.
you move around a lot, chasing them, playing with them, and whatnot. So grandkids are fabulous exercise.
To keep you moving. I know. Well, last week I was playing tag with a 4-year-old, and I thought, gee.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good workout.
Yeah, and lots of being on the floor and then having to get up off the floor.
Good for you if you kept up with them.
Yeah. Well, then it was, we tagged each other, then just changing directions, and I'm, oh gosh. Yeah, it does keep you on your toes. And I think, gosh, I do 2 days a week of childcare. This is not for the unfit. This job.
No. Or you'll quickly get fit is what
You're going to quickly get there. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, David, talk to us more about the exercise snacks. I mean, we've kind of touched on it, but what
Sure.
more can you say?
The concept is the same way as you have a food snack that is not a meal. The concept of a snack is it's food, but it's not a meal. It's a quick in and out of some food. Similarly, with exercise, the idea was to create a 10-minute workout. It could be an 8-minute workout. And I'm going to tell you what was in the one that we wrote about. And you don't need to replicate it, but it gives your audience the feel for what it involves. And it can all be done in 10 minutes. So you can stop your day. You don't need to change, you probably need some good shoes, but you don't need to change it into a whole workout outfit. So here is one, and there's many. When we have several examples in our book, Super Aging, and also in our workbook, Super Aging Workbook. But here's one of them. So I open number 1, body weight squats or chair squats. Squats is probably the all-time greatest single exercise for you because it's
Squats.
balance.
Okay.
It's squats are like fantastic. So it builds lower body strength. It supports joint health, and it improves your balance. You stand in front of a chair, and you lower yourself as if you were going to sit on the chair. Some of them say, if you're not that good at it yet, just have your bum just lightly touch the chair, but then you stand back up again. So you have to stand up and down, almost touching the chair, but it forces you to push from your lower body and repeat
Without
that for
using your
about 30.
hands. Right.
Well, yes, without using your hands. Usually you have your hands crossed in front of your chest. The second one, wall push-ups. Do push-ups against the wall or a counter. Stand at arm's length from the wall, lower your chest toward it, and then you just push back and forth up against the wall while you're standing. So again, this is for people that can't do a full push-up. The third one, marching in place with high knees. It boosts your cardio or your aerobics, as Larry said, which in turn supports brain health, believe it or not. So you march in place, lifting your knees high and swinging your arms back and forth for 1 to 2 minutes. The fourth one, if you can, is a one-leg balance stand. Stand on one leg, stand next to a wall or counter so you can quickly recover. You're not going to fall on the floor. Lift one foot and hold it for 10 seconds, switch sides and repeat. The fifth one is a bird dog. If you can do it on the floor, it's better. You can also stand, but you're basically on your hands and knees. You're putting one arm out in front and the opposite leg out behind. So you're rotating it that way. You can do it by standing and lifting. So I could stand up and lift my right arm and lift my left leg. So you're alternating, and do that for a minute. And then the toe and heel raises is number 6. Literally, you just stand tall, have some support nearby so you don't, if you lurch or you stumble, and you simply rise onto your toes and then rock back onto your heels and do it 10 to 15 reps. And then finally, gentle stretching or yoga stretching. There's a number of forward folds, cat's cow stretch. There's some yoga stretches you can do to get, and that can be done. And we have a diagram on the website of these exercises. These 7 exercises can be done in 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
And that's a little mini program. Yeah. March in place, body weight squats, one leg balance, wall or counter push-ups, toe and heel raises, bird dog, and deep and light yoga stretching or deep breathing. So it's not something you need to get all dressed up and go to the gym and have an expensive workout outfit on, right in your kitchen or in your living room, your bedroom, wherever you have. And it's just a sample. There's other examples, and we have more examples in the book. But that's a program everybody could do. You can see yourself doing that.
There's no excuse for anybody.
That's
true.
the idea.
True. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, this is good. I've been doing the wall push-ups as well because it's another thing I can, I think I'll just do 10 wall push-ups right now.
Sure, at any time.
Hey, there you go.
At any time, yeah.
You put the stuff in the oven, you're cooking, and as you close the oven door, you walk over to the wall and you do 10 push-ups up against the wall.
Yeah. It's so easy.
But on the subject of exercise systems today, let's remember another thing too, hydration, plenty of water all during the day.
Cheers to you all.
Yes, because yourself to get dehydrated.
Now, I think we touched on this. I was going to talk about or ask you about, there's people that will say that weight training is more important than walking. But I think what we've said here is they're both important, equally important. Is that?
Yes.
Well, yes, because as Larry pointed out, they do different things.
Yeah.
You lose muscle as you age, and you recover more slowly from accidents, trauma, a fall. I just had a fall and I just bruised a muscle. It wasn't anything serious, but I'm still on the limp a little bit. No, but it's going to take me, I'm going to have to consciously work on it. There's exercises and physio, but basically a 20-year-old who had surgery could recover the muscle loss without doing anything. A 70-year-old may never. If you're laid up for 2 or 3 weeks after even minor surgery. So you got to work at it. You got to go and get it. It's not going to happen by itself.
Yeah, I think, Barbara, a good answer. That's like asking what's more important, vitamin B or vitamin D. They're both important, and you should have an adequate amount of both.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, and of course, a lot of these, what we've just been talking about, they're to help us prevent falls, to prevent accidents,
Oh,
to
yes.
keep, right? That's why they put so much importance on balance and strength, because if you do fall, if you've been doing all these things, you're better able to get yourself up again.
Yes, and they all strengthen the immune system, which in turn works against inflammation. So they all have very beneficial results for longevity. All
This
of
is
them.
great. Okay, Larry, do you have any more thoughts, any more bits of information, insights that you'd like to add to this?
Basically, as David said, very simple. You use it or you lose it. So you just
Use it
gotta,
or you lose it. Yeah.
you just keep moving, keep doing your exercises, do things that are fun, do it in bite-sized chunks, and it's that simple, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. David, any?
Well, there's a
Stories.
little motif, and I think Larry, it came from William Simmons, who's our physiotherapist who contributed to our book. And I don't know whether he coined it or somebody else did, but I remember him saying it. It's 3 words that sum up the whole thing. Motion is lotion.
Motion is lotion. Yes.
That was actually my Pilates trainer. who
Oh,
said
your
that.
Pilates trainer.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
All
but,
right, Larry. I got the wrong
that
guy.
was mine. Yeah, no, but they've all said great things, though.
Yeah, but
That's
it's not a great way to
perfect.
say motion is
Yeah.
lotion.
Motion is
Yeah.
lotion. Well, it keeps us
Lotion.
oiled. Keeps us.
Yeah,
We
yes,
don't
yes,
move.
exactly.
Yeah.
We're all stiff.
Motion is lotion.
Motion is lotion. Yeah. Larry, thanks so much for coming on. This has been really interesting. David, so great to see
Thank
both
you.
of
Thank
you
you.
again.
It's great to see you again.
We just so appreciate all the research that you add to these conversations.
pleasure.
And thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much
much.
for inviting us, Barbara.
And we'll do it again.
Anytime.
All right.
We'll do it again for sure.